I've been noticing a pattern lately when I'm looking at myself and when I'm looking at many other clients that I help, and that is once you are facing a lot of discomfort and you are about to do something that is like scary and that is really uncomfortable, one of two things happen. Number one is you face your fears, you face the discomfort, and you have like a massive breakthrough. And it always happens like this. Always when people are scared of to do something and then they face it, they have a massive breakthrough. Or number two is they like shy away from it and they stay where they are at. And this is something that has been repeated recently. One of my clients, he is about to transition from one-on-one coaching to like a cohort. And this is pretty scary, but it is the right option because it is much more scalable for him and it is a lot more valuable for the clients that he is helping, right? Because now he is doing one-on-one coaching. Let's say you have you have 20 different clients who you all help in a one-on-one coaching setting. That basically means that you are spending about 20 hours per week on calls, and then also like one hour for each client for like messaging support and other things. Let's say 20 hours for that as well, so 40 hours in total. That is already a full-time job, and that doesn't even count the getting the leads and the converting the leads, right? So instead, what would be a better approach is put all of these people in a group, in a cohort, and basically guide them through like a process together. Because here, what you are doing, instead of having just one call per week with each of them, you have 3 calls per week for, let's say, 90 minutes. For 90 minutes, so that is like 4 hours and 30 minutes. But and there you basically help everybody. And then you also spend, of course, like 5 hours of basically like messaging support, but that you also do in a group setting. Now that only costs you 10 hours per week compared to like the 40 hours per week if you do one-on-one coaching. And why, you ask, is it like more valuable for basically the customers? And well, because number one, they have a lot more access to you. They can ask a lot more questions because instead of one call, they have 3 calls. Number two, it's like they can learn from other people asking questions. You know, they have these light bulb moments of basically like when somebody has ask a question that you didn't know you had or that you didn't know how to articulate, then you are basically like, and then you have this light bulb moment and you can apply it to your own situation and grow yourself from it as well. Right. And the third thing, of course, most important thing is when it's a one-on-one coaching, you only speak to one person. But then it's really difficult to change because then they go back to their old friends and their old environment, and you are the sum of the 5 people who you spend most time with. So if you only talk to one person and 4 of the other person are basically not on the life that you want and not basically trying to achieve their goals, it is very difficult to actually change. But when you are with a group of people, you can connect with those, and then you become more like the sum of the 5 people who you then know inside of the group. So it is the best decision. Like when you get to a certain point, when you are getting a ton of leads, when you have a ton of clients, then you can transition eventually to a cohort model. But my client was basically saying like, yeah, man, this is so like, it's so like uncomfortable, it is so scary, and it's honestly, it is terrifying because it is something that you haven't done before. Right? But then I simply reminded him about all of the other times that we have basically faced our fears. I was saying like, okay, you still remember your first sales call? How did that go? Like, how did you feel? And he was saying like, yeah, I was shaking. And then I was saying like, how do you feel about, how do you feel about having these sales calls now? Yeah, it's easy, man. It's easy. And then I said, that's right. Like everything, when you try it at first, it is very scary. It is very uncomfortable. But once you do it just the first time, it is a lot less bad. So I gave him the same advice that I gave him before. It's like, like just try it, just do it, face your fears. And once you start running the cohort, once you actually start doing it, then you will notice that it's not as scary anymore. So fear kind of works like this. It appears to be this big and scary thing, and once you face it or once you even think about facing it, there will be all of these internal blockers, like basically holding you back from actually doing it. It's like, oh, what if it's not worth the effort? Or, oh, what if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? But as you start to find out, as you start to face your fears more often, you will start to realize that fear basically is, it appears to be very big and appears to be very scary, but once you step through this, you realize it is actually not that bad. And this is basically like a quote that I heard from Leila Hormozi. It is, fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And it really is like this. Like, it appears to be this big thing, but once you step through it, you realize it is not that bad after all, and then it becomes like your new baseline. And this happened to me as well in many different scenarios. Basically, when I started, this was my first tweet ever. I don't know like why I was scared of it, but I just didn't want to basically have like a social media presence or share my thoughts on the internet. It was just one sentence, but for some reason I was just procrastinating for such a long time. Like, it took me about 6 months of thinking about like posting a single tweet before I started doing it. But once I first started to do it, I was like, oh, all right, let me post another one and another and another. Same with my first ever call. You know, like, I couldn't imagine first when I started basically hopping on calls with people and just talking to them. But then I quickly realized like how high leverage it is. Like, when you just hop on calls with people, then basically what happens is, number one, you will learn a lot because everybody has something interesting to say, and you can ask questions, so you get market research basically, so you figure exactly out like what people want and what you can help them with, and you of course build your network, and your network is such a great asset. Like, this person who I hopped on the first call with, I'm still talking with him, and we still like share thoughts and think of collaborations and stuff like that. So there is a ton of opportunity about hopping on calls. But when I was supposed to do my first call, like, it was so scary. It was like, oh man, like, my English isn't really good, you know, because English isn't my first language. I was like, maybe they will judge me because I don't speak English well enough, etc., etc., etc. But after I did my first call, yeah, I was like a bit shaky, you know. It was like, it was very uncomfortable, but after that, every time it got easier and easier and easier. And then a lot later, basically I started to do my first ever sales calls, and that was very scary at first because I had to pitch my offer, you know. So it was, I procrastinated for a very long time. Actually, like, you can see that I had my first call in March the 17th, and only on a year later, basically, that is what I figure out now, on the 16th of March 2025, a year later, I only pitched my first offer, because I was just afraid to do it, you know, like, to pitch my offer. I was thinking like, oh, this is going to be very uncomfortable. What if this happens? What if it ruins like my reputation, etc.? So I procrastinated. But as soon as I did that, it got easier and easier and easier as I went. And basically right now I've done about like 130 sales calls already. And now it's like I'm doing them in my sleep. Same with like when I was posting my first video, you know, this was August 2025. Yeah, like just speaking to the camera, it was very uncomfortable. But now, basically my current situation, if is I've helped already 29 high ticket clients, and basically, like I mentioned, like, I did 130 sales calls already. I was able to earn $45,000 with my online business, and I even got a 10K month once. And yeah, I've been working with a ton of people, hopping on calls with them, you know, coaching them as clients, and they got great results as well. So yeah, and this all over time got easier. Now basically coaching, hopping on calls with people is like almost second nature. So I want to end with some lessons or more mindset shifts that I'm explaining to my clients to help them to solve this exact problem of basically facing their fears and thereby having massive breakthroughs. Number one is you grow the most by doing the things that you were afraid to do. Fear is just a sign where you can grow the most. So once there is something that you're really scared of doing, then that is exactly what you should be doing in order to grow. Number two is everything will feel much easier once you've done it only once. Number three is from 0 to 1 is the hardest because that step is infinite. After that, it's just a change in numbers. So 1 to 2, just a change in numbers. Even 2 to 100, it is just a change in numbers. It is never going to be as big as the step from 0 to 1. Number 4 is discomfort equals growth. If you are feeling a lot of discomfort by facing your fears, then that means that you are growing. And kind of this is how it goes, right? You have your zone of capacity, your competence, and your confidence. But once you step outside of your comfort zone, then eventually that will become your new baseline. And then if you step outside of your comfort zone again, then you will increase your zone and your baseline once again. So your capacity, your competence, and your confidence will improve. And number 5, everything that I'm teaching you here, you probably know this already, but we have to be reminded more than we have to be taught. So do something about it. If you take action and you face your fears after watching this video, then my job is done. So think really good for yourself, like what is the thing that I'm most afraid to do, that I keep avoiding, but that I know I should be doing? And then just take that action. Just take it and know that after that it will be much easier and you will increase your baseline.